everyone. Today I'm going to show you a real quick and easy and basic recipe. It's getting towards that time of year where Thanksgiving and Christmas is right around the corner, and I was going to be making a whole bunch of these anyway, and I thought I'd just show you guys how, for those that don't know how to do it and maybe you rely on store-bought. I'm going to be showing you how to make pie crust, and it's a pretty basic and easy thing to do if you know how to do it. Years ago I was overwhelmed and daunted with the task of pies. I don't know why, but the whole idea of making homemade just overwhelmed me. But I've learned better since, and there's like tons of recipes out there for pie crust, as some of you know. But I'm just going to show you how I usually make mine and see if you like it. You can make it for sweet or savory. I have some flour here, and I have a stick and probably 2 tablespoons of butter. You want everything ice cold. You could do this in a stand mixer. You could use it if you don't have one of these. This is a pastry blender. If you don't have one of these, 2 forks would work. I don't want to go with my mixer because I don't want to overwork it, and then it's easy to do if you rely on electric mixers for this. So I'm just gonna, you're gonna use some elbow grease. What you need to do is you need to cut in the butter with the flour, and when you get to the texture of peas, that's when you need to stop, or crumbly bits. So I'm going to work this. This is probably the longest process of this recipe. So I'm going to work this and I'll be right back. Hi everybody, we're back. So this is the texture that you really want your flour and your butter to turn to. Kind of all crumbly, not really held together well. This is where you want it to be. So now, because if I was making a savory pie, like a pot pie or something like that, I would stop right here and I would just go and add the ice water. But because this is for sweet pies for Thanksgiving or Christmas, I got a tablespoon of sugar here, and I'm just going to mix that around with my pastry blender and just kind of incorporate it all. And now you want your water ice cold. And if you live in a warm environment, I suggest putting all these ingredients in the freezer for probably, I don't know, about 10 to 15 minutes. We're fortunate for pie crust that we live in a colder environment. I can just open up my kitchen window and it's right where I need it to be. So I have a coffee mug of ice water here. I'm not going to need it all. I have a tablespoon measure here. You want to add a tablespoon at a time. It's so easy to just add too much liquid, and if you add too much liquid, you can fix it. You just got to add a little bit more butter and a little bit more flour to even it out. And when people say eyeball it, that's what they mean. You know, watch the consistency, and if it turns back into crumbled bits, then you're good. And then I'm going to add another tablespoon. This recipe usually doesn't take a whole lot of water. And then work it in. Now what you're going for as you add the water to this is you want it all to come together in like a soft crumbly ball. That's where it turns from crumbly bits to pie crust. I'm going to add a little bit more water. Also, if you live in a drier environment, you may need to add a little bit more water to your baked goods than you would normally in drier climates. Okay, I'm probably going to need a little bit more water because it's just not... See how it's slowly coming together? And that's okay, but just make sure you're working the water a tablespoon at a time. It makes a world of difference. And it's going to get stiffer on you, and that's what you want. So I'm going to continue to add my water, work in my pie crust, and I'll be back. Hi everyone. So this is what it's going to look like when it comes together. I had to wind up putting in about 5 tablespoons of water. You can add more or less depending on where you're at in the world. Now, to get this to come together, we're going to have to knead it a little bit. And I'm going to grab a little bit of flour. Okay. And just throw it down on either your cutting board or for me it's my counter. And we're going to get all these little bits. And we're just going to poke them in there. And then we're just going to want it to come together. Try not to overwork it. That's when people run into problems with their pie crust, is when they overwork it a little bit. What we're going for is we just want it turned in on itself. So, and see how flaky it's going to be? You can tell already. The crumblier the pie dough, well, within reason, the flakier the crust. Okay, and see how it's just now coming together. I only want it to just start coming together. I don't want it to turn into like one of those discs that you can buy at the store. And in my opinion, they're overpriced. Okay, so that's good. That's pie crust right there. And now from here, I'm just going to wrap this up in saran and throw it in my freezer. Probably going to make a few more of these. There's no like recipe done for a taste test, but what I can show you is what I did with this last year. I didn't go all out for Thanksgiving like I normally do because I had a couple of back-to-back surgeries, so I wasn't able to do that. But I was able to make this pie crust that looked like little miniature cinnamon buns. And I think I got the idea off of Pinterest, and I thought they did it with, I think, store-bought, and I did it with homemade crust. And I think I'll put that picture up so you can see all the fun things you can do with these. So, until next time, guys, live, laugh, and love, and we'll see you next time.